We are going to be talking about the Common Core Shell today. Just keep in mind with us as we work through this, we are going to be doing a recording of this presentation. And so what I would like to just request is that we save all the questions for the very end. If you have questions, you can of course be using the chat function, and then we'll just address all those considerations at the very end of the presentation. One other request I'll make is just that everybody mute their microphones so that we don't have any kind of feedback, that we don't have any interruptions as we go through the presentation that will end up on that recording. This just is going to be a discussion of the Common Core Shell that fully online courses use at Tuskegee University. One thing.
This is Dr. Boyan. I just have a quick question before you start. So are we all going to use the same shell for all classes, or how is it going to work?
Yep. So that's exactly what the presentation's about. So just bear with me. Okay. All right. What we're going to do is talk about this Common Core Shell. The point of this presentation is not training in Blackboard per se. This is just going to be a discussion of this Common Core Shell that utilizes Blackboard. So the Common Core Shell presupposes some familiarity with Blackboard, and then what you'll be able to do is show exactly what you can do as you are asked to populate your Common Core Shell. So let's go ahead and get going here. So the first question we might just ask is, well, what exactly is a Common Core Shell? And now the Common Core Shell really just is an instructional design tool that's used to store faculty provided content in a systematic way. And now the way I like to always think about this Common Core Shell is to think about something that you'll be hearing about tomorrow, and that's a syllabus template. So most of us are familiar with this idea of a syllabus template, where our college or the university provides the structure for exactly what our syllabus is supposed to include, your office hours, your office location, the required texts. And then what we do as faculty is go back in and populate that syllabus template with all the content that's relevant to our course. That's exactly the same idea behind the Common Core Shell. This is what's being provided to you, and then as a faculty member, what you're going to do is provide the content that's relevant to your course. So we can move on here, and can you shrink that back down a little bit, Ms. MacArthur?
Oh, my bad. Sorry. I was trying to close out my email so it would quit dinging while you're talking. Okay, I was able to do that. So you need this minimized?
That's perfect, right? Like that.
This?
Yep.
Okay.
So here's the question: what exactly are the advantages supposed to be of this Common Core Shell? And now what we can do is just start talking our way through some of these different advantages from different perspectives. So now for the faculty, the goal of the Common Core Shell is supposed to be to promote ease of design. So what you have as a faculty member is freedom in the arrangement and the production of your intellectual content, where the addition and subtraction and revision of course content is supposed to be simplified. It's supposed to be made as easy as possible. And then what you don't have to worry about as a faculty member are the structural and visual parts of the course, since those aren't the parts that necessarily we specialize in as faculty members. And of course, what the Common Core Shell does is allow you not to worry about meeting the quality matter standards, because those quality matter standards are built directly into the features of the Common Core Shell. From the administrator's perspective, the goal of the Common Core Shell is to ensure consistency and quality. And now the idea here is that we have assurance that the online courses satisfy institutional standards as reported to the accrediting body. So whether that be student complaint procedures or technical assistance or something like that, these features that our accrediting body worries about are built directly into the Common Core shell. We also have, for the administrators, assurance that required course elements are built into the Common Core shell, that we're presenting a syllabus, that we're presenting assignments, that we're presenting assessment. All of those different features are built directly into the Common Core shell. And now here, finally, we also have assurance that the online courses maintain that Tuskegee brand. In other words, our traditional Tuskegee courses meet a very high standard. And now what we're doing with this Common Core shell is just ensuring that the very high standard is also being met on behalf of fully online courses. Of course, there's also going to be an advantage for students as well. And now the goal of the Common Core shell in terms of our students is to promote familiarity. So the idea is that once a student goes through an orientation and is accustomed to what online courses look like at Tuskegee University, they'll know exactly what to expect from your course or from my course or from somebody else's course. Notice students will know where to go, when to go, and how to go in terms of getting their work done. The point here is that what we're trying to do is remove the stress that's associated with this new learning environment. Learning in a fully online course can be a drastic change for many people, just like teaching in a fully online course can be a drastic change for many people. And this just gives us a way of easing that transition for our students. Notice there's also going to be an advantage given the structure of the Office of Distance Education and Online Learning. So that office has some staff, and what those staff are now able to do is promote usability on behalf of students for faculty. And so what the staff can do is help students find what they need to find. What the staff can do is help train the students in order to use this Common Core shell. And then the staff are going to be able to help these students succeed in all of their online courses, regardless of who's teaching the course. And the staff can also help faculty focus on the creation of new content instead of being worried about design or orientation or something like that. So now we have this question, well, how do I use the Common Core shell? And so this is going to bring us to exactly how the rest of this presentation is going to go. First thing to point out here is that the Office of Information Technology is going to load this Common Core shell into all of the Blackboard courses for any faculty who are assigned to teach fully online courses. So if you're assigned to teach a fully online course, then what the Office of Information Technology is going to do is just plug this Common Core shell right into your course for you. There's nothing that you have to actually do in terms of uploading this Common Core shell into Blackboard. Instead, your job as a faculty member is going to be to populate the Common Core shell with all of that content that's required for the courses that you're responsible to teach. And as you'll see in a second, what this is going to mean is that you're going to be filling folders with content. As you work through the Common Core shell, you're going to be replacing what is left as blue text with custom text. So the text with the color blue is just a spot holder for the details you need to provide. And then importantly, what you're not going to do as a faculty member is delete parts of the Common Core shell. And now remember, the point is that all of these courses that are fully online end up looking very similar to one another, even though the content is very different from one course to the next. And so now what I'm going to do is go ahead and just work through, show you exactly what this Common Core shell looks like in Blackboard. So Ms. MacArthur, can you go ahead and pull up that Common Core shell in Blackboard?
Okay, let me just, let's see, best way to do it. Probably do that. And, okay. My Mac is trying to install updates. Hold on, folks. No. Okay. And we're back.
All right.
And ta-da!
Great. So when you click on your course in Blackboard, you have your whole list of my courses. When you click on whatever online course it is that you've been assigned to teach, the page that you're going to have is going to be this page. So this course shell is going to be actually what you're provided with. And this just is what we've been calling this common course shell. You'll notice very first here are some instructions for you. So it says important notice right here up at the top. Remove the instructions when you're done editing your course. You'll need to edit text in blue to reflect items that are specific to your course, but and then remove any of the text in red, but not delete anything else. And so what I'm going to do is just start walking you through exactly what this common course shell looks like, just to give you an idea of the kinds of things that you're going to be adding as a faculty member. You're going to hear me talking a lot about what we call the navigation menu. So along the left-hand side of your screen, there's a bunch of different links. All of these are links to different parts of the course. And what each one of these links does is take you to a different section of the common course shell. As we run through this demonstration, you'll just have an idea of exactly what it is you need to do. This first page right here, introduction start here, it's what you're seeing on the main part of your screen. This is the very first landing page that your students will come into when they click on your course. And now it's important for your students that you give them some feedback in terms of exactly what it is they need to be doing in familiarizing themselves with your course. First and foremost, it's always helpful to make sure that your students have a computer that's working appropriately. So we have a browser check right up there at the first step. And then the second step just is a chance for you to welcome your students. And now notice we've encountered some blue text here. So welcome to course name for semester year. And now, of course, what you're going to do with that blue text is go back and add whatever it is that's relevant to the class you're teaching. I teach Introduction to Logic during the summer online. So I would change this to welcome to Introduction to Logic for summer 2020. And then we have different elements that are required, mandatory virtual orientation. You can see step 3 is a chance for your students to introduce themselves to their classmates. And we give you some sample kinds of starter questions. We have another link to a discussion board that your students can always have access to in terms of asking any questions they might have with the class. And then finally down here at the bottom, there is this 5th step in terms of course navigation, where you're telling your students what to do next. So the next thing they're going to want to do is go take a look at this course overview and materials page, and then they're instructed to take a look at the course syllabus and the course instructor and contact information, and then review all of these links down here, and we'll get to those in a second. So very quickly then, we can take a look at this course overview and materials page. So I click on that, and now notice just how much blue text there is here. So you're going to have some different content to populate. Course description and course objectives. A lot of this is just going to be copied and pasted from your syllabus. Required textbook and instructional materials. Exam proctoring requirements, exactly what you're expecting from your students. Any prerequisite knowledge or technical skills that are required for your course. All the assignments and assessments and their due dates, just like a course calendar here for your students. There's a folder for the major examinations where your students can find those exams when it's time for them to take them. And then finally down here at the bottom, there's room for you to stipulate all your unique course policies, what your grading scale is, what your rubric is, your rules for plagiarism, et cetera, et cetera. All of this is just contained on this course overview and materials page. And again, a lot of this content is exactly what you should have on a syllabus. So it's a lot of content that just will be copied and pasted.
Can I ask a question, sir?
If possible, could we just save all the questions for the very end of the presentation?
Sure.
Thank you so much. There's also a link here for the course syllabus. And now notice what you can do here is plug in your syllabus. Moses, Dr. Natam will have more to say about the syllabus requirements in the presentation tomorrow. And then the last navigation menu item here before we get to the modules is the course instructor and contact information tab. And now this gives you a chance to introduce yourself. This gives you a chance to stipulate exactly what your contact information is, how you want students to reach out to you, and then of course, what your office hours are as is required for all faculty. Those are all kind of introductory content areas that get the course set up for your students. The week-to-week work is done in these modules. And so now you'll see that there are 8 different modules, and this corresponds very nicely to the summer teaching calendar, because what we have are 8 weeks of teaching in the summer. Of course, it would also be easy for you to transition your 8 module course to a 16-week semester, because instead of giving students a week to do the first module, you could just give them 2 weeks to do the first module. But for summer, these 8 modules work very nicely. And now notice what's in the first module is exactly what it is you expect your students to be doing in that week of your class. So you're going to provide them with a topic. You're going to summarize exactly what you'll be discussing. You're going to present the objectives and measurable learning objectives for your students. And then you just provide the to-do list, what they're supposed to be reading or watching or discussing or writing. And of course, you populate all of this material with whatever it is you've decided for your students to do. Below these statements about your plan for the week, your plan for the module, are these content folders where you can actually plug in the required elements of the course. So if you have readings that they need to download and read, you can put them in the readings folder. If there are video lectures that your students need to watch and take notes on, you can put those in the lectures folder. If there are assignments, if your students need to submit a paper, or if your students need to do a discussion board, you can put all of those links in the assignments folder. And then, of course, if there's any kind of assessment, we have room for both pre-assessment and post-assessment, whether it be assessment before they do the learning or assessment after they do the learning. And now the thing to keep in mind here is that this structure, pre-assessment, readings, lectures, supplementary resources, assignments, post-assessment, this is exactly the same structure from module to module to module. So I'm just jumping up to module 5, and what you'll notice is that it looks exactly the same. And this again just goes back to expectability and familiarity for your students. They know exactly where it is they should be finding stuff on a week-to-week, on a module-to-module basis. The last bit of the navigation menu over here, there is a link to my grades. So any of those assignments, any of those tests, any of those quizzes that you have in the Blackboard gradebook are going to be accessible to your students when they click on my grades. There's also a link here to course updates. So as you post announcements, as due dates come close, your students can see updates about those announcements or updates about recently graded items or any other anything that's time sensitive. There's also a link here to the discussion boards. So as you work through the shell and you add a discussion board here, you add a discussion board there, or you have your general questions discussion board for students, your students can access all of those discussion boards from that link. And then there's also a link here to send an email. As an instructor, it's going to let you send an email to all of the students. And as a student, it will let the students send an email to the instructors. So what exactly happens when you click on that link depends on how you're registered in the course. Let's see, the university resources, university guidelines and policies, Blackboard and technical support, and course tools. These are all just links. And all of these links just take you to external pages that you don't need to worry about at all as a faculty member. What these things do, for example, the student resources for university guidelines and policies lists all the different things that our accrediting body has been told we provide for students in our typical courses, whether it be the academic calendar or academic regulations. And again, because this is just a link to a web page, there's nothing for you to do at all. All of these function just like that, okay? Ms. MacArthur, could you go ahead and switch me over to that second document called the navigation guidelines?
Okay. That's good.
All right, so what I've done with this document and what I'll do is just make this document available for everybody who's interested in having it. But you'll notice everything in bold here just is one of those navigation menu items. So the whole Common Core Shell navigation menu is identified by all these different bold items. And then what I've done is just given you a nice little summary of exactly what it is you need to do as a faculty member for each one of these navigation menu items. You'll notice there is some text that's in blue, and I made that blue because along with the Common Core Shell, that means you have to do something. Notice this is an action required item, but there's also going to be items that aren't necessarily action required. So like the My Grades link, there's nothing that you need to do as a faculty member to make that My Grades link work. It's already fully functional, and it just pulls all the data from the Blackboard gradebook that you set up. So we've talked through each one of these pages already, but again, this is just a document that I wanted to make available to you to give you an idea of exactly what it is you're going to be doing as a faculty member. And you can see a lot of these are just no action required, all of those links. By and large, most of your time is going to be spent setting up these introductory portions of the Common Core Shell, where you state the course overview and materials, the objectives, pull all that stuff from the syllabus, point to your syllabus in the course syllabus link, and then of course fill in the modules with your course specific content. And again, I'll make this document available for you to whoever would like to have it. Last time, Ms. MacArthur, just switch me back to the other PDF.
Okay.
All right, so we just went through that demonstration. Hopefully all of you have a decent taste of exactly what the Common Core Shell looks like, what your job is going to be as a faculty member. We also spent some time just looking at that navigation menu guide document, which really just provides a summary, a synopsis of exactly what's in the Common Core Shell and what your task is going to be as a faculty member. And now, without further ado, we're at a point where hopefully I can just go ahead and answer any questions that you might have. I'm going to go ahead and pull up this last slide here just so you know how to contact me even after this, this presentation ends. But I would like to go ahead and open the floor now to answer any questions that people might have.
Okay, thank you so much for your presentation. My name is Samina and I'm working at the College of Veterinary Medicine as a webmaster.
Great.
With my extensive experience of using Blackboard in past, I have a question. What is the difference between module action requirement because it is already is provided by the Blackboard software platform itself. So what is that new shell you are talking about? Because all those things which you have shown is already given by the Blackboard and we can utilize this. So how this is different now? How can you say the common shell, course shell is different from Blackboard? I am just confused about these two things.
So the common core shell is inside of Blackboard. So you're exactly right. It's nothing new. It's just the structure. So all we've done with the common core shell is provided a specific kind of structure so that all online courses have exactly the same look and feel to them. So that you know, for all the reasons.
For my understanding, it's a Blackboard itself, and you made it easy for everybody to understand and follow the steps. It's a Blackboard. It's something new platform, but say just Blackboard, right?
Right. That's correct.
Okay. That's I want. Okay, thank you so much.
My pleasure. Anybody else?
Can I ask a question?
By all means.
So does that mean you don't? I think what the former question might have been, does that mean you no longer have a regular homepage?
That's correct. So now when you log into Blackboard, everything will still look exactly the same. So it will still have, you know, all your different courses listed and things like that. What will change is that when you click on one of the courses you're teaching, if it's a fully online course, then what it's going to look like is that common course shell that just needs to be populated with all of the content that is necessary for your course. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but then the grade center, does that a separate place or?
Yeah, so the grade center, I mean, all of those tools are just tools in Blackboard, right?
Okay.
So,
yes.
so it would still be under tools. That's just not anything that's new to the common core shell. And so since it's not anything new, it's not something that we focused on. It's not something we brought up, but it's definitely still there.
May I also ask, are most courses, is the assumption they're asynchronous?
So in the past, in every single summer we've done fully online courses, they've always been asynchronous courses. Now specific professors may choose to do, you know, required Zoom meetings at this time or that time. But the typical fully online course in the summer is asynchronous.
Hi, I have a question.
Yes, please.
It's me, Dr. Abdullah from Vet School.
Yes.
So much for your excellent presentation. It's really great.
Thank you.
Can you please send me the navigation menu guide, please?
So I think what we'll do is I'll just send it out to everybody who registered for the course. So if you don't want it, just delete the email. If you do want it,
thank you.
And you registered, just hold on to it, okay?
Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
I have a question. This
Yes.
is Barbara. When will the course shell be loaded into our Blackboard so we can get started?
Great question. Miss MacArthur.
Yeah, hop in here. Right now what we're waiting for is for summer to see which courses will be offered. And once we know that, we'll ask Campus Technology, they will load the course shell into, so you'll see it by default. But that will be for the summer classes.
This is Faye Hall Jackson. If we are not teaching in the summer, but desire to build the distance learning course, can a sandbox be provided to us?
Absolutely, we can, I think, Brett, we can give you the master course shell for you to upload into as many courses as you desire so you can practice. Yes.
Yep, and you may have noticed there the one I was actually showing you was actually inside my sandbox. So that's exactly what I did, just so I could, you know, get some work done ahead of time.
Okay,
Thank you.
This is
Is
Samina.
there-
This is Samina again. I have a question regarding the fully online course. Means the Blackboard is always available to student on each semester. So right now, fully online course mean that what this means actually. So they have to use password again, and a student teacher has to make it available, right? So how it is different? Why we are saying that fully online course?
So just like students have access to Blackboard during the semester, students will have access to Blackboard during the summer when they're enrolled in fully online courses. And then, you know, like we mentioned before, this Common Core shell is just inside of Blackboard. So it's just
So
in.
instructor is going to make it available for the student as the system is the same as we are using in past, right?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Now, if I may add, fully online also means that all the content in the course is made available. So the course is fully populated, as opposed to a regular face-to-face class where instructors may post material week by week as the course progresses.
I'm gonna start scrolling through, and it looks like some people have raised their hand, and I'm just gonna start calling on people as I see the hand raised. Dr. Bender, if you want to jump in.
Yeah, sure. Hey, Dr. Bender over here. Hope everybody's doing well. I have a question because one of the classes I know that has been offered in the past is public speaking online. And I'm just curious if you have maybe the best platform for the students to actually post their videos to Blackboard, because I know that's always a little tricky. So something like that could be a little bit of a challenge. So how would they go about posting their actual speeches?
I believe what students did in the past, sorry, Dr. Coppenger, in that particular class, the students created their own YouTube account, and then they shared their link with you, or they can post the link in the assignment area so that you can click on the link, and then when you administer a grade, you could also have access to the rubric. So that's, and we can work with you to show you, you know, how to set that up within your online course.
Thank you so much. And I really appreciate all of you for everything that you're doing right now. This is really, really wonderful information. So thank you.
Thanks so much. All right, I'm going to keep scrolling down the line. Dr. Gebhard, is there another follow-up you had? You're muted right now.
Okay.
Okay. Let's see. I think that's the only hands I see raised.
I have one more question about when the shell will be available.
Yes.
Could we all maybe have the shell in our sandbox so we can get started? I'm just thinking about, you know, 4 classes and final grades and then getting up and going with summer.
Yep. Ms. MacArthur, you want to jump in here again?
Sure. I think if anyone wants the zip file of the Common Core shell, you can email myself, Dr. Coppenger, Dr. Natam, and we can send it to you. So it'll come to you as a zip file. It's not a huge file. And then you simply open your sandbox in Tuskegee Blackboard and you can import it. But I would caution it for those of you who who have not imported a course package before, feel free to reach out to one of us and we'll walk you through that process, because you don't want to inadvertently overwrite one of your actual live courses. And it's a lot of, it won't destroy all your work, but it's a lot of work to clean it up.
A lot of tedious work.
Yeah, and I think we had decided as the ODEOL team that we will happily walk each person, will hold everybody's hand to get you to that point where you upload it, you see it, all is right with the world.
Okay, that sounds good. Thank you.
Okay.
You can also archive your course for last semester and you can import it back for next semester, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
So Ms. MacArthur, are you saying that even Wayne Barr will be okay to teach online this time?
If you know, my team has been able to pull off impossible tasks, and I think Dr. Barr must be our oldest student in terms of try and try again and try and try again. Yes, Dr. Barr will get online this summer.
Well, I'll say one thing. There's nothing like learning on the job.
Exactly.
And these last few weeks,
Amen.
you know, just having to do it and having to create videos, etc. Now it seems I see how, you know, I can populate all those modules. That seems so insurmountable.
And while you're on the beach, actually.
Yeah, while I'm on the beach, correct.
Dr. Cole, did you want to jump in? I see your hand was raised.
If we teach on summer and we have to set up these courses, I know at a previous institution, they wanted us to have them ready by a certain deadline so that, you know, the main office could review them. So will we have certain deadlines where we need to have certain stuff populated for y'all's office to review it to make sure we're meeting standards, or is this just on a trust basis?
Wonderful question. Ms. MacArthur.
After many conversations with administration and input and feedback from faculty, we designed this fast track to essentially fast track faculty who will be compelled to teach online this summer. Therefore, we will not be doing our traditional peer review process, which does require very firm deadlines because of a whole lot of things. I'm not gonna suck a bunch of time here going into that right now. If you follow the course shell that we have provided, and make sure everybody comes back tomorrow at 4 as we continue to go through this. But if you follow the master course shell and you follow the syllabus, the syllabus template, you should be okay. Now, what we have kind of decided as a ODEOL team, at the end of the summer, if you do want your course peer reviewed, you can request that. But at this point in time, it's optional. Yeah, that's a short answer. Did I answer your question? I hope so.
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
We did discuss having the first module populated just so that we could give feedback, correct?
Yes, we would like, prior to the start of summer school, that you have at least 1 week fully populated with what you need your students to do. And that's not very hard. You will, I'm gonna say something that's a little scary, but you will need to, it's a good idea to pre-record your lectures, and we can help you with that. I've got at least, we've got Dr. Coppenger, Dr. Natam, Ms. Holston, Mr. Glaze in our office. We've got 10 or 12 faculty who've taught online before. We can all help you painlessly create your recorded video lectures for your students for summer, because it's not synchronous, it's asynchronous.
It looks like Chitra, do you have a question?
Yeah, Chitra here, physics department. I just wanted to ask, I mean, you might have mentioned in between. So will this be, this is a proper online course, right? So it's an asynchronous course, not like what we are doing right now. I just wanted to make sure that's what we are talking about.
Yes, this is a, as you say, I like that word. This is a proper online course, distance education. Because once again, remember, we're looking, online courses are designed for the convenience of the student, but without sacrificing quality. So yes, it's a proper course.
Okay, thank you.
And then Caroline, did you have a question?
Yes, I do have a question. So I guess what's kind of daunting and why I hope I don't join your path, Dr. Barr, but every test, every quiz, every lecture, I mean, that's pretty intimidating to have that all done in advance. I mean, now I usually have a very detailed syllabus that lays it out reading by reading and when everything is due and everything, but it is kind of intimidating to think of trying to have all that stuff ready to go.
No, for this summer, for what we're about to do, that's why we're calling it fast track. We only need you to have 1 week of content if you're going to be teaching in the summer per course, and then just fill it up as you go along each of the 8 weeks of summer.
So just like you described, you'll have your
Can somebody mute their mic?
You'll have your plan set up where you have your due dates for all your quizzes, but what we're not asking you to do is actually have all those quizzes written. The only quiz you need to have written by the start of summer school is the quiz that happens in the first module, the first week of class. Does that make sense?
Yes. Can I also just add another thing that is intimidating to me about the online, and this might be covered later, but handicapped, well, I should say persons with disabilities, you know, like doing a lecture that's captioned, that sort of thing.
Yep, and that's one of the things that we have tools for from previous summers are strategies and contacts for exactly what you need to do if that situation arises. It definitely is going to arise for some of us in some of our classes, but I don't want you to worry about it now and have that be what keeps you from teaching online. That's let's cross the bridge when we get to it kind of thing. But there are tools and companies that we partnered with that will help with that kind of thing.
And we work very closely with Ms. Lund. So if you do have a student who has special needs, remember, you cannot give us that information, but contact Ms. Lund and she'll get in touch with us and let us know how we have to help you to make that course accommodating for students who have special needs.
All right, well, I think we've got all the hands that were raised. Oh, I just see another one. Dr. James?
Hi, I just had a quick question. If you have your first week, you don't normally have a test, should you just create one that will come later and put it in there, or not worry about having a test in the first week?
Yeah, no, I would encourage you not. If your syllabus is set up in such a way that, that their first test isn't until the third week of class, then there's no reason for you to put that test in the first module. What you'll do is have your modules match up perfectly with exactly what your course plan is, what your syllabus is. And, to be honest, we have, in those modules, there's a folder called supplementary resources. Maybe you don't have any supplementary resources for a second module, but that just means that your students know when they click on that folder and there's nothing there, that there's no supplementary resources. So don't feel like you have to invent, more work for the module than actually exists.
Mm-hmm. But that the first week, it would be good to have your students introduce themselves via the discussion board the first week. So at the very least, that they're actually there. Because once again, this is not synchronous. So, but you do want to keep your virtual office hours, and you do want to reach out and introduce yourself and have the students introduce themselves to you and to each other. The first week should be very warm and fuzzy, very nicely gliding into what's to come for the summer.
for what it's worth, I do in my first week, in my first module, I always give students a syllabus quiz. So I have them take a look at the syllabus, and then I just ask the world's most basic questions, like when are my office hours, or how many tests are there? And it's a way for me to show student involvement, and also a very kind of low stakes test for my students to start getting comfortable with the testing environment on Blackboard. And that happens in the first module. So those kinds of things, you know, when I teach online in the summer, it's not a replica of my traditional class. There are things I do differently.
Okay, it's 4:52, so we always like to keep our meetings on time. We don't want to hold anyone over. Are there any other questions that anyone has? Anything that wasn't clear? Okay, wow, Brett, Dr. Coppenger, you did an awesome job. You answered every single question.
Thank you, everybody. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay, take care.
Thank you. Great job. Really good.
Tell us if you need anything.
Thank
We
you.
will.
Excellent job.
Okay.
Awesome. Thank you.
I'm gonna wait till the last person leaves the meeting and shut this party down. Oh, look at all the people. How nice.
Take care, Miss MacArthur.
You too. Everybody stay safe. See y'all tomorrow, same time, 4 o'clock.
Thank you so much for everything you guys are doing. Thank you.
Anytime.